Hi, good morning, good day, everyone, wherever you're at in this world, checking out our discussion today for My Army Medicine Story. It's the first episode for an ongoing series that we will be hosting here through the Army Medicine page. And who do I have I have the privilege of working with two distinguished officers today. So I hope you enjoyed today's discussion and looking forward to having you be part of future discussions with us in Army Medicine. First and foremost, my name is Otis Toussaint. I work in the Office of the Surgeon General of the Army, and I hope that you enjoy our discussions that are to come. So here we go. And first and foremost, who I'd like to add on my stream this morning? Well, I've got Captain Holly Weaver from the 5th Medical Recruiting Battalion there in San Antonio, Texas, but she is with the Kansas City Medical Recruiting Station out of Kansas City, Missouri, of course. So I'd like to have you add on and say hi to our awesome Captain Holly Weaver.
Hey, Otis. Happy
What's
Friday.
going on? Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
I'm so pumped. Just so pumped to be here. You know, we started doing these live streams together in May. We've done so many together, and we just decided it was time that we actually made a series to highlight the amazing Army officers that work in Army medicine. And I'm just so happy to be here with you. And we have a phenomenal guest today that I've known for several years. And I'm just really excited that we get to highlight and share his Army medicine story.
And absolutely. I know, it was a great privilege, and it still is a great privilege working with you, obviously there with the 5th MRB, and getting the chance to come up here in the OTSG. I get a chance to meet a lot of interesting and very distinguished officers in the Medical Corps. And so I do know that we have several things that we want to talk about today. We have the recruiting aspect, of course, which you fall right into. And then we've also got the time to talk to the distinguished guest that we have today about his Army medical story. He did take a traditional route, and it's something that is to be celebrated, something that's to be acknowledged, and something that I want the viewers to understand that it could be them as well. Anybody could take the route. If I can take the route, if he can take the route, if you can take the route, they can take the route as well in serving as an Army medical officer. And so do you want to go into the recruiting aspect first, or would you like to go ahead and let's go talk to the young man first? What would you like?
Well, I just want to say, kind of a little bit more reasoning behind why we created this series is because we wanted to bring together both Army. I still have my Christmas tree up, y'all. We wanted to bring together Army medicine and recruiting command because the two blend together perfectly. In recruiting, I'm an Army nurse, but my job as a healthcare recruiter is to share the Army medicine story and to promote Army medicine and to inspire others to want to join, as an Army nurse, as an Army doctor. And then you, working for OTSG, you're representing medicine and what all Army medicine has to offer. So what better than, me showing potential and, future soldiers what their opportunities could be. And then you showcasing Army medicine officers and all the amazing things that they're doing. So it's really kind of a great way to showcase our currently serving members, and then also to inspire and motivate others to want to join because it is an amazing opportunity. And I was a direct commission 8.5 years ago. Best decision in my life professionally. And there's just been so many amazing opportunities. And I'm excited because Captain Campbell, our guest today, his route, is non-traditional, and I'm excited to learn more about how he got where he is today and what he's looking to do in the future as well.
Oh, sorry about the Christmas tree shout out. And we even spoke about that prior to the actual discussion, but it adds a little bit of pizzazz and a little bit of culture to our discussion here. as in the comments, as I see here, someone said 5 stars for having the tree up. So don't be embarrassed about the tree. The tree is all good. The tree is all good. And so let's go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say a funny thing on that. You know, I have 3 kids, working full time. I'm in grad school. We're doing this. You know, the tree, it brings me joy, and I'm not even mad that it's still up.
Exactly. Look, I've got lights in the back of mine, and that's how I kind of keep the energy flowing within my house. So, hey, celebrate as many lights that you'd like, celebrate as many trees as you'd like, and celebrate our discussion today, obviously, with Captain Campbell. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and add on Captain Stephen Campbell. Hey, sir, what's going on? How are you?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How you guys doing today?
We
Doing
are
great.
awesome.
Well, first of all, thank you
And
guys for
so,
having me. I really appreciate it.
absolutely, absolutely. I want to, I want to give you the floor. Go ahead and, introduce yourself, talk to the folks who are checking out our discussion. Obviously, we've given you a lot of adoration beforehand. We've celebrated you beforehand, but no one is better than speaking of themselves than themselves. So go ahead, sir. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your military medicine background.
Okay. So I'm Captain Steve Campbell. I am an Army nurse currently stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina as a 2nd Brigade Army nurse. Like you guys had alluded to, I didn't have the traditional route. I joined the Army back in 1998 as a 13 Bravo, which is field artillery. And my first assignment was at, guess it, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. What are the odds of that happening, right? So I did that for 2 years, field artillery. I didn't like it too much. I felt that it was too much field. Of course, that's the cause. The name is field artillery. My roommate was a medic, and he told me I should reclass and become a medic. He said I would get out the field, I could do other things, and I get to help people. So that's what I did. I reclassed in 2000 and became what was back then a 91 Bravo, which is a combat medic. And I did that for 14 years, and I gained the rank of Sergeant First Class. Being a medic was awesome. I deployed twice as a medic to Iraq both times. First deployment was with 173rd Sky Soldiers, and then the second deployment was with 1st Cav. My time as a medic was great. I enjoyed it. Being an NCO was a good learning experience. I think if you become an officer later in your career, I think you should definitely be an NCO so you can learn how to lead soldiers, because that's awesome leading soldiers. As far as becoming a nurse, it's a strange transition. Excuse me. I was PCSing to Fort Hood, and the guy I was replacing was in the AECP, which is the Army Enlisted Commissioning Program. And at the time, of course, I had no clue what that was. This was back in 2005. And I was replacing him. And when I met him, his name is now retired Major Gene Plantier. Back then, he was Staff Sergeant. And he said he was going to college. He was going to nursing school full time. And then he's going to commission in as a nurse. I was like, how did you do that? And that's when you talk about the ACP program and how you can get commissioned as a 2nd lieutenant once you finish nursing school. So I looked into the program, and I was very interested into doing that. It took me a little while to get all my prerequisites done and everything, because I had deployments in between. So I said I found about the program in 2005. Deployed, came back, PCS to Fort Bliss. Went to school there, got my prerequisites done, and applied to ACP in 2009. Was selected in 2010, and I went to University of Texas, El Paso, UTEP, go Miners. That's where I graduated from. I got my BS in 2012, and I commissioned in October 2012 as a Army nurse. And my Army nurse career has been pretty phenomenal, if you ask me. I started off at Womack Army Medical Center as a staff nurse. I loved my time there at Womack. I met some great people. I was on a great med surgical floor for South. I did that for 2.5 years. People thought I was crazy because I was on a med surg floor for so long, but I loved it. I loved taking care of patients. I loved my team that I was with. I just didn't want to leave. But I wound up being pushed up to assistant head nurse my last 6 months there. And then from there, I went to CNTP deputy director for CNTP, which is great. Take care of young second lieutenants, mentoring them and coaching them and training them up to be a great, outstanding junior leader and Army nurse. And from there, I got the opportunity to be a aide de camp, which I had no idea what that was until I got a phone call from HRC asking me if I wanted to do it. Put my name in the hat, interviewed, and I didn't think I was going to get the job. But I got a phone call a couple of months later saying that I was selected to be aide de camp. So I went up to Fort Belvoir, Virginia, to Regional Health Command Atlantic, and I was the aide de camp for two outstanding leaders, two outstanding general officers. The first was then Brigadier General Place, who is now Lieutenant General Place, Director of DHA. And then the second one was then Brigadier General Dingle, who is now Lieutenant General Dingle, who is the DSG. So I got to be the aide de camp for those two outstanding leaders, and I learned a lot from those two officers. Other than being in command, that was by far my best job in the Army, hands down. There's no comparison. And after that, took command at Fort Belvoir Community Hospital, Troop Command. And then now I'm here at Fort Bragg. And that's my Army story.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So I guess that's the end of the episode. Nah, just kidding, just kidding. Holly, I think, would you like to go ahead and talk to him about some of the things that he brought up? I know I'm hearing a lot of the different jobs, a lot of the different aspects of things. Go ahead and jump. Let's ask him some of the questions. Go ahead.
Okay, so first, Otis, you and I were going to bring this up in the intro, and then we kind of just got ahead of ourselves. I think, being Friday, we're just amped up, and then we're just always amped up to be here and to do live streams.
Yeah.
But when we kicked off this series, we knew that we were kicking it off in February, and we thought that it would be a great idea to honor and celebrate Black History Month by bringing on some phenomenal and inspirational leaders. And Captain Campbell came right to mind. People might say a captain, but obviously I'm a captain too. But you just hear his background as he's just been talking for the last few minutes. That is why. Captain Campbell has been in the Army for a long time and has done some amazing things, going from field artillery to being an Army nurse. But he's not any Army nurse. He's done a lot of really cool things and worked with a lot of really cool people. So that's what we really want to talk about. The first thing I kind of want to dive into is, you talked about AECP. And what I really want to kind of focus on a little bit more is, just the amazing opportunity that is for our soldiers, and how can we as leaders really encourage our soldiers to check that out and apply for it, and kind of what goes into, getting yourself prepared for applying, for that. I mean, your life trajectory has completely changed because you went through AECP, and there are many opportunities you wouldn't have had if you wouldn't have done that. So let's just hear a little bit more about that and what your advice would be to a soldier, that wants to be a nurse, but just needs a little bit of push.
Okay, sure. So the ACP is a great program. Again, it's the Army Enlisted Commissioning Program, and it's been around for a long time. Again, back in 2005, when I applied, when I first heard about it, it was around a long time then. It was under wraps, and nobody really heard about it. But it's a good program for enlisted soldiers that want to become a nurse, and you don't have to get out the Army. You don't have to do ROTC. You can stay in the military. You just have to find a school that's going to take the prerequisites that the ACP requires, and you have to just go to school for 2 years. So, but you have to want to do it, because the fact is, if you have no college, like I didn't, you have to get the prerequisites, and there's a lot of prerequisites that you have to get your your sciences and your math. So it takes about a year and a half if you have no college at all to get those prerequisites done. And then you got to get letter recommendations from your nursing colleagues, supervisors, your company commander, and things of that nature. It's very competitive now. When I went through eons ago now, it wasn't as competitive as it is now, because it's a lot out there now than it was in the past. So it's very competitive now. So you need to have a good GPA. There's a lot of people that's interested in ACP now, which is great. A good friend of mine Megan, she had developed a Facebook page for AECP. Megan Gross developed an AECP Facebook page, and we have past members, current members, and future members of AECP in that group. So if anybody is interested in AECP that has questions, they can just go to that website, request to become a member, and on that website is a plethora of information of schools, of how to put your packet together, and things of that nature to help anyone interested in being ACP to help them out. And also can have people in there that can help mentor and coach as well as they get on their way. So ACP is definitely a great way to go.
Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions. And you know, I understand, okay, AACP is an awesome program. From what I'm reading in some of the comments on our page, you know, something that's very aspirational for potential future officers, etc. But looking at yourself personally, what was that driving force that made you, first of all, want to be an Army nurse, want to be, you know, I know you said that you want to take care of people, but what sort of inspiration, what were those aspirations that came into you that really said, okay, other than, you know, avoiding being in the field all the time as with the prior branch that you were in, what really gave you that push to say, hey, I want to be in the medical field to take care of people?
I looked at the long term. You know, I was a medic, and I was like, okay, I'm enlisted. You know, I can stay in and make sergeant major. That'd be great. You know, that's the top you can get on the enlisted side. I can retire, and that'd be good. Then I thought about, you know, once I retire as a medic on the outside, you know, what benefit will that have for me? And I know if I became a nurse, you know, that's long-standing. You know, it's a great profession. It has longevity. Unfortunately, people in the world are going to be sick, and it's going to need someone to take care of them. So I thought, you know, becoming a nurse, I can help people in the military, and then once I retire, I'll still be a nurse, but I can help, you know, retirees and their families, and just regular civilians on the outside. So my driving force was that, you know, I can do this, be a great nurse in the Army, in the military, and then get out and still be a nurse on the outside. So that was basically my driving force, was what made me want to proceed and pursue that.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So I know, have there been, this being Black History Month, and I remember I was actually in the nursing program, Green to Gold. I actually went to school in 05 for Lincoln University of Missouri. And I went as a Black, you know, HBCU, but I went to a nursing program, which wasn't HBCU at all. It was majority white. And it was, you know, I was a dot in a very white pool. Did you ever have any pressures while you were in school that felt like, man, maybe this wasn't what I need to be doing? Maybe this isn't the career field I need to be going through?
Not really. So I went to, again, I was in El Paso, Texas. So the predominantly Hispanic there in that part of the state. So I went to UTEP, University of Texas El Paso. So my nursing class were majority Hispanic, so minority. So wasn't too many African Americans in my class with me, but I didn't feel like I was out of place. I felt comfortable in the school. I felt like I was where I needed to be, and I felt like I was competitive with everyone else. So I felt pretty good.
I hear that main word, competitive with everyone else. What was that motivational piece there? That thing that made you feel, okay, I am competitive with everyone else. I'm not going to just doubt myself.
Right, because you know you have doubts in your mind sometimes, and sometimes some people you hear in the back of your mind, or some people that you talk to say maybe you're not good enough, or that's not something for you to do. Why are you doing this? And when I first started, you know, it was a little challenging. I've been out of school for a long time, and some of the classes were kind of challenging. But you know, I just look to my right and see what I had there with me. It's like, okay, they're doing it, I can do it too, and if they can get through it, so can I.
Excellent, excellent. Holly, do you have any follow-up questions?
Well, I mean, there's just so much to unpack from all the things that, you know, he's been saying, but we've had a lot of comments coming in from Facebook and YouTube. So I thought that this would be a good time where we could just kind of throw up a few comments from our viewers and just share those, and then we'll go into more about a few of the amazing things that he's done since he's been an Army nurse.
Excellent. Oh, thank you for that transition help there, Holly. So let's go ahead and start posting some of these comments that we're seeing. And we want to encourage the viewers of this discussion. Go ahead, type in your comments in your sections that where you're located, and we'll actually be able to feature them on the page as well. So the first one that we see is from Mr. Adam Grimes. He says, hello, teammates. Well, hello, Mr. Grimes. How are you? We've got another one from Miss Peggy I. Phillips. She said, hi, retired Army nurse, Lieutenant Colonel Peggy Phillips. Well, how you doing, ma'am? Good day, good day. All right. So someone said about the tree earlier, 5 stars for still having the tree up. And they followed up saying, mine stays up year round. So, hey, it's all good. It is all good having your tree up. All right?
It comes down at some point. Just, graduate.
Absolutely.
My accounting class is killing me right now. That's all I'm going to say.
Understood. Especially in, we're all kind of dealing with post-2020 syndrome. So if you have anything that kind of keeps a good, shiny, happy light around your way, keep it up. So, hey, it's all good. We've got one here from Miss, I guess, Nicole's page saying, woohoo, Captain Campbell, enjoying your stardom from Robinson Health Clinic. Do you know her, Captain Campbell?
That's
there you go.
Work at it right now.
There you go. We've got one from Mr. Darrell Long Sr. He says, AECP, great program.
I
agree. And
Miss
Peggy Phillips, she said, that's the old Green to Gold program. That's, ironically, Green to Gold is the program that I commissioned in back in 2005. I think I was just tired of cutting grass as a young medic back in the fifth engineer battalion back in Fort Leonard, Missouri. Moving on, the next one. We've got one here from Mr. Sean Beach. Hopefully I pronounced your last name right. Beach. He said, I never knew there was a Facebook page for AECP. I just joined to help soldiers since so much has changed since we were selected. Thanks. I'm sure it'll help people find their way forward. Keep the awesome mentoring going. That's excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know we served together at 1-4 South at Womack. So Beach is a good
awesome.
Excellent. We've got one here from, of course, Miss Phillips again. She says, hardcore nurse corp. Hey, absolutely. Sounds like a good running cadence too. Nurse corp. And let's see. I don't understand what was said there. So whatever was said there, had good day. And Dominique says, and I think this is a good suggestion, we may implement that in future podcasts, add subtitles so we could follow with questions and answers. Thank you very much, Miss Dominique Baez. So following up, Army nursing, what are some of the career options that people can have as far as if they want to, join an Army nurse? I mean, we typically out there in the civilian world, obviously I'm not thinking that, but many in the civilian world may think, oh, being an Army nurse, what is it? I just got to do the injections, and do I have to run around and go not kicking doors and all that different stuff? What is that all about? Can you tell us what that's all about? Holly and Steve.
So, I mean, Army nursing is great because it's so vast. It's so many things you can do. And to me, it's kind of two sides. You can bedside, or you can leave the bedside. You can do a combination of both. Of course, when you first start, you're going to be bedside because that's your foundation as a nurse. You got to learn how to take care of patients. Then once you get at it, then you can start venturing out and do other things. There's things that they call broadening assignments that you can do that's outside of nursing. But if you want to stay bedside, you can specialize and become an ER nurse or ICU nurse. There are mother baby nurses. There's psychiatric nursing. So there's other fields you can go to. Or you can stay at a hotel, which I am. I decided not to venture into specialized world. But if it's for you, then go for it. But as a hotel, there's other opportunities out there as well. Again, there's company command. There is aide de camp. There is brigade nursing. There's ROTC brigade nurse counselors. There's recruiting like Holly. There's case managers. There's a whole plethora of things you can do as a nurse if you want to get away from the bedside. But eventually you have to go back to bedside because you are an Army nurse and that's what you're getting paid to do. But you can venture and play both sides of the fence and do Army nursing and then go back and join the real Army, as people say. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm playing real Army as a brigade nurse.
And what about you, Holly?
There's a tree again. Because you got me by myself. Look at that! Look at that tree, y'all.
Embrace the tree. Embrace the tree, Holly.
Embracing the tree. Okay, so as far as just opportunities as an Army nurse, my career has been a little bit different from Captain Campbell. The thing is, with Army nursing, you're not going to find one person that's an Army nurse that has had the exact same career as someone else. Right. You're going to have been stationed different places. You're going to have had different jobs at different times. I was a clinical nurse officer in charge of a primary care clinic right when I pinned to captain. Someone else, they might do it when they're a major. Someone else, they might never do it. I was a company commander of a medical company that had 100 soldiers. Captain Campbell was a company commander for Troop Command in Fort Belvoir and had 400 soldiers. Every single person has a different path and a different story, but it's our story. So we own our story, and it's our privilege to be able to share our pathway and to let others know what opportunities are out there, and that if they have a dream, they can do it. If you can, that's kind of a takeaway that I have learned in Army medicine and Army nursing, is that if you have an idea and if you want to do something, you just have to make it happen. And of course, we have to make sure that we're following our guidelines and everything like that. But if you want to do a project, or if you want to do an initiative, it's all a matter of how hard you can hustle and what you put into play to make it happen. And just a little bit on that, Captain Campbell and I, we went to a junior officer leadership course together about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's called a CJ Ready course. And they bring junior officers from all different branches together for a week, and it's kind of a conference. So we connected there, and we just recently reconnected because I just started this mentorship group on Facebook for Army nurses, and saw him on there, and sometimes I'm like, I know this person, I know this person, but where do I know you from? CJ Ready, that's it. And it's been an amazing thing. All these Army nurses, past, present, future, coming together, and sharing their stories. And I knew you, back in 2005, or we worked together. You were my branch manager and changed my life. And hundreds, if not thousands, of stories already of connection and sharing stories, and just the pathways and opportunities in Army nursing and Army medicine are limitless.
Yes. I'll remember this. I do realize, even though my last day as a commissioned officer was back 6 years ago, I'm still reconnecting every day to officers that I've met over the years. We all three of us have a connection in regards to Army medicine, and I will say this: Army medicine is stronger and smaller than you think it is.
It sure is.
Can you speak a little bit of testimony regarding that, Captain Campbell?
Yes, we always say that the Army is small, but the Army is small, but the Aide is smaller. It feels like every time I went to San Antonio for a course, I ran into someone that I knew. And, because San Antonio is the home of the AMED. And so every course you go to for the AMED is down in San Antonio. So when I was enlisted, I went there for BLC, ALC, and SLC, which back then was BNOC and ANOC. I ran into somebody I knew. If I went down there for a course, I ran into someone I knew. When I became officer, I was there Bullock. I knew somebody. When I went to Captain's Career Course, I knew somebody. When I went down there for other courses, I ran into somebody. You always run into somebody when you go to San Antonio, or if you get stationed somewhere else as well. And the Facebook page that Holly started with the nursing corps, I just ran into a whole lot more people that I knew or met along my way that I'm reconnecting with now. So it's great. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Army medicine is a small little niche market. We're looking always for the specialized individuals who receive the opportunities for educational training, etc. And so we've got some questions coming in, and let's go ahead and post some of these questions and comments. And maybe either one of you can go ahead and answer the question or comment. So the first one comes in from Mr. Alex Kennedy. And the question is, why did you become an Army nurse instead of an Army PA?
It's funny because for ACP and the IPAP program, it was all the same prerequisites except for one difference. This is back in 2010. This is probably different now, but back then, like I said, basically the prerequisites were the same for IPAP and for ACP. The only difference was that for IPAP, you needed SATs, and for ACP, you did not. And again, I was out school for a long time. SATs was not something I really wanted to take over again. So nursing was the way to go.
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear regarding that. And so thank you very much, Alex, for your question. We've got another thing here and this is a comment more so from Andrew Ingalls. It says, endless opportunities are what I love about the potential opportunity. What I've always struggled with as a civilian nurse is the feeling of stagnation. Ooh, stagnation is a horrible, horrible thing. I think that unfortunately some of us may run into, whether you're in the military or whether you're a civilian. Can we all speak about career stagnation and what we did to kind of surpass that sort of stagnation that we felt? Go ahead and let's start us off with you, Holly.
Well, absolutely. So, just kind of me breaking away from just being a nurse, I, like Captain Campbell, am a 66 hotel as well, a med-surg nurse. And I, went from being at the bedside to being a clinical nurse officer in charge. And then after that, I did command. And now I'm in recruiting, which recruiting is the best of both worlds. I get to represent Army medicine, but then I also get to represent the recruiting command, and I get to help people start their Army medicine story. And Andrew Ingalls is one of the people that I'm helping start his Army medicine story, and have prepped him for the board, and he's getting ready, for his packet to be reviewed, and hopefully is a future Army officer and ICU nurse for our great military. So he has been amazing to work with, and he is one that, is just so excited about the adventure and the opportunities that can push him beyond just, his skill set as a bedside nurse. And that is something that's really cool. And I'll just share this with you, that I decided that, I've loved being a 66 hotel med-surg nurse, but I want to push myself to learn something new and different. So after recruiting, I'm actually going to go back to the bedside, and I'm going to become an ER nurse. And the Army offers different training programs. So I'll go to the 66 Tango Emergency Nurse Training Program, and then I'll be a specialized ER nurse. And when I'm done with that training, I'll be at year 10 in the Army. So it's like I'll almost have too many careers, one as a med-surg nurse and then one as a ER nurse. And I'm so pumped about that, because I think it's truly awesome that, I will have had all these experiences and then get to go back to the bedside, and I'll be in the chorus with, some young lieutenants. And I think it'll be just a really good time. I'll get to do a little bit more clinical before bouncing back into leadership. So I'm just really excited. And that is how I, decided, hey, I'm going to switch it up, and I'm going to do something different. I'm going to challenge myself, and I'm going to go the emergency nursing room route, and I'll kick it over to Captain Campbell next.
Go ahead, Captain Campbell. Speak to us about career stagnation, how you break past it.
Well, first I want to credit Holly for going back to the bedside and being a nurse. Congratulations. That's awesome. And that's a good point I'd like to bring up to a lot of young nurses that I talk to nowadays. They're so quick to want to leave the bedside and specialize and become that ER, ICU, or, golf, or that psychiatric nurse, which is nothing wrong with that. But I tell them they need to go out and work, experience life first as a nurse before they decide to specialize. I tell them that, you're going to be a captain for a long time, unfortunately. So you got a chance to experiment, do some things, do some broadening assignments, and then come back to that, like Holly just said she's going to do. So I encourage all young nurses not to be in such a rush to do high-speed stuff, or specialize, I should say, because that'll always be there. You can specialize as a captain, you can specialize as a major. So do not be in a rush to specialize. Take your time, some broadening assignments, and then try your hand at specializing. As far as stagnation, the Army is good about hopefully not allowing stagnation by making you PCS every couple of years. Not a couple of years now, it's about 3-4 years now. But I think that helps the stagnation. And then also with nursing, there's so many opportunities. It's if you're getting, or you feel like you're stagnating, it's because with so many opportunities, you should not be feeling like you're stagnated. After about a year or two in an assignment, you can reach out to your branch manager and say, hey, I want to do something different. And you talk with them, work with them, and hopefully be able to find you something different. If you're in an MTF, there's many opportunities to move around to different floors, different clinics. So there's a lot of opportunities to move around. It's just what you make of it and try to get out there and get your name out there so you can move around and not be in the same position for a long period of time.
Excellent. I think, maybe that I could add on to the career stagnation thing as a civilian. Yeah, I commissioned back in 2009. I, worked as a medical admin officer, 70 Bravo. I left. But before I left, I picked up a skill set working in the 101st for Colonel Clark, his name is. He worked in the EO office. I love cameras, I love videography. So I thought, hey, why can I be a storyteller of what great things the Army Medicine does? And so I picked up that camera and I learned how to do it. I left, as a civilian. I worked doing videography, photography, got good at it. Went to Europe for a couple of years, worked there, and worked in recruiting command. And now I get a chance to work telling Army stories about the great things that we're doing in Army medicine. All the way from A to Z, and there's a career opportunity when it comes to Army medicine. In regards to Army medicine team, can we talk a little bit about what are some of the misconceptions out there? Let's go ahead and break away some of the misconceptions that people may have in regards to Army medicine and what we can do as far as civilians and as far as military officers. Can we speak about that? Some of the specialized skills that there may be opportunities for that could break away from some of the misconceptions that's out there.
I'll just kick this off with, I'll say that something that Army medicine just does an amazing job with, and, we proved this with COVID, is that we can go in and stand up a hospital, to take care of patients. And our training from, everything that has been going on has really helped us. And we have been able to, fight the invisible threat of COVID-19. And we are adapt and agile. And that's the kind of thing that you just have to have that mindset of the only thing that is going to stay the same, or the only constant, is that there's going to be change, and change is inevitable. And so just having the mindset of being adaptable and knowing that you're going to have to adapt, and you're going to be more autonomous than you would in a civilian, workplace. And it really just depends on the opportunity and the situation. But you're not just a nurse, you're a nurse and you're an officer and you're a leader, and you're responsible for your soldiers, and you're also responsible for your patients. So it's just really kind of this just unique opportunity that, in a civilian hospital, you're responsible for your patients and maybe your staff, but there's this whole other layer of responsibility. You're not just an Army nurse, you're an Army officer, you're an Army leader, and you're an Army nurse. You're all these things, and you're a soldier. So you just have a lot of different hats that you wear, but you're not just a nurse. You are an officer, and you are leading the profession. So I think that's kind of a misconception sometimes, that people think, oh, they're just a nurse in the Army, but you're a leader, and you're a leader in the United States Army. And both Captain Campbell and I, have just been sharing with you. We have done other jobs that not necessarily nurses do, such as company command. You definitely don't have to be an Army nurse to be a company commander. And so you still have to have those leadership skills. And, I think that's just kind of a misconception that's out there sometimes, is that people think, oh, they're an officer in the Army, but they're just a nurse. We're leaders, and, we're out there in the front with our soldiers too. And segueing into, I just want to go into, Captain Campbell sharing about a little bit more his last couple assignments. I want to hear more about his time as a general aide, general's aide, and the two generals that he worked for. Just some words of wisdom, from that experience.
Sure, of course. Again, like I said, other than command, being an aide de camp is the best job by far to me, because you get to work at the strategic level in the AMED, and you get to see why decisions are made. As a second lieutenant on the floor in a hospital, you just come to work every day. You do your job. You don't have no idea what's going on above your head. You don't know what decisions are being made, why they're being made. But when you become an aide, you get to see why decisions are made, why money is allocated for certain projects and not others. You get to see things happen at a level that you wouldn't be privy to at any other time. And so work for two general officers with two different leadership styles, both great, just different, was truly an opportunity for me to take some things and put it in my toolkit. As an aide, you got to be there, but not be there, because you're privy to a lot of conversations that if you was an aide, you wouldn't be privy to. So you got to learn to be seen, not heard. You got to be very time oriented. You have to be very disciplined. And it takes a lot of hours. Stay early days, late days. But the biggest thing I learned from both of those gentlemen is that you have to listen to your team, because the team is what makes you successful. Every time we went on a visit to whether it was a clinic, a hospital, or wherever, the first thing they did was say, how can we help you? Or how can I help you? And they just sat there and listened. And so the biggest thing I took away from all that was just basically listen to your team, see what they need from you and how you can help them.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. And it sounds like that experience kind of has helped shape you and mold you as you continue to grow up as a leader, because we never stop learning and growing as a leader. Every day we're 1% better than the last, and we just have to keep moving forward to improve ourselves and absorbing and taking in everything that, the leaders that we surround ourselves with. That's only going to make us that much better for the soldiers that we lead, because we always have to show them that we have that compassion and caring, and that we care about them, and we want to know how we can make their lives better. Because, especially as we continue to grow up in the Army, you've been in for 23 years, but you're still growing up in the Army.
Yes,
as we continue to grow up in the Army, we're going to continue to get into positions where we have the power to help other people. So we always have to remember, that we were a second lieutenant, that you were a medic, that you were a field artilleryman, and what was it like when you were in that position, and how can we help this person out? Whether it just be listening to them and seeing them and hearing them, or can we help them? We see the potential in them. Can we help set them on a path of, success by writing them a letter of recommendation, by putting in a good word for them, by sitting down and mentoring them, by recommending, a book that impacted our life. I mean, it's just like, it could be the smallest thing that makes a difference, or it could be something big. But, there's many people that have done something pretty small on their end, but it has impacted my life forever. So we just have to remember about all the things that people have done for us growing up, and then we just have to continue to pass it on, because, here in the next year or two, God willing, we'll both be field grade officers. And, we're going to be transitioning away from, we're no longer going to be junior, and we're going to have to be thinking about more of the strategic, which I know, in our kind of jobs we have to already, but we never need to lose touch. We can't ever lose touch away from the soldiers and junior leaders that we're around, because they're the future. So we have to always remember, we got to help them up just like we were helped up.
Let me ask a question regarding that. Let me ask a question. What are some of the things that people should be doing right now if they want to go along the path that you guys are going along? Especially if they're, maybe a junior officer or a junior enlisted. What can they do right now to be a future Captain Weaver or Captain Campbell?
The first thing I suggest, get a mentor. Get a mentor. that's the best thing you can do, especially in your young career, is get a mentor, someone that you look up to, someone that you want to emulate, someone that you think can help you be successful. And they don't have to be in your MOS or your AOC. They can be in a different MOS, a different AOC. They can be civilian. Just someone you think that can help you. And it can be more than one. You know, you can have numerous mentors. I think mentors is the way to go. I have numerous mentors, civilian, military, nurses, non-nurses, and I think that has helped shape my career and helped me become the professional that I am. And I try to do the same thing. I try to get back, like you guys said. I didn't make it here by myself, and I don't want to. And I want to bring everything that I've received and give it back. So I love to coach, mentor, and teach. I try to take these young lieutenants, young NCOs, young soldiers, and let them know my story and tell them, you know, that it might be difficult to become a nurse or a PA or an MSC officer, but you can do it. And if you need anything from me, just let me know, and I will be there to help you.
Okay. What about you, Captain Weaver?
Same goes for me exactly. You know, Captain Campbell just said it perfectly. Find yourself those mentors early, and you know, you kind of just it's a two-way relationship. You can want to mentor, but if they don't want to mentor, or if they don't have time, or they're already mentoring other people, you know, you can't force a relationship. It very much has to be a two-way street. But if you know, have met someone and, you know, a leader that you look up to and aspire to be like, just reach out to them, because they'll never know that you're interested in, you know, talking to them or finding out more if you don't say something. So I just suggest just kind of putting yourself out there. And, you know, the worst thing that could happen is they say no or they don't respond. And, you know, sometimes that happens in life. And it's not, honestly, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in the last year or two is that, you know, you just can't take things personally. And reading the book, The Four Agreements, was hands down a game changer for me, because, you know, sometimes, you know, something happens and you take, you know, someone might say something or do something and you just take it personally. You can't take things personally in life, because, you know, 99 times out of 100 is not meant to be taken personally. So if you reach out to someone and you don't hear back from them, that's okay. You know, it's just life telling you that it wasn't meant to be, and you know, there's so many other mentors out there. And I was having a conversation with
fully agree.
I was having a conversation with one of my mentors, you know, fairly recently, and you know, he said that the best thing that like the thing that gives him the biggest joy in his career is not what he does or his success, is seeing the people that he mentors be successful and being able to help them. And I was just like, wow, like that is so true. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to, you know, start to kind of doing that. And I've already kind of mentored and helped a few people, but I just feel like, you know, that's going to continue to grow, and those opportunities, because, you know, it's just kind of one of those things that, you know, it's just kind of the same thing as volunteering. When you give back, you feel so good, and, you know, you're making a difference. And when, it just brings you joy. And that's the same thing with mentoring. So you want to find good mentors, and then you just want to help people along, but, you know, that you just got to do that right away. And then along with the mentors, you just have to find opportunities and find different things to be involved in, and, you know, to separate yourself. You're not competing against anyone, but you just have to get yourself out there and, you know, just be involved with the organization, you know, give back to, you know, volunteering. I recently earned my MOVSM, which is your volunteer service medal, which I should have earned a long time ago, but I did a really bad job of record keeping in my volunteer hours.
Yep.
So honestly, you know, 8.5 years in, that's my most proud award right there, is because, you know, the hours and hours in the multiple organizations that I've volunteered in, you know, they're just, not only does it make you feel good, but it makes a difference. And so that would just be my best advice is, you know, if you want to continue to grow up and And in the military, I say that not in the age sense, but just, you know, as you progress in rank and positions, that you need to build your team of mentors and mentees, and constantly continue your knowledge of growth. Always be reading, always be developing, always, you know, keep your mind open to different opportunities and developments. And then, yeah, just stay involved and keep your eyes and ears open for any possible opportunity. And when you can, say yes. You don't want to say yes if it's going to put you in a bad, like, mental health space, you know, where you're just taking on too much and you're just bogging yourself down, where, you know, you're just pushing yourself over the limit. That's not healthy. But you want to say yes to those opportunities that present themselves or presented to you, you know, where you know this is going to make a difference. Like, you say yes to those opportunities all day, every day, and you just keep saying yes. You just, you know, obviously you have to keep your life balanced and everything like that. But that's just kind of what I did, and I know that's what Captain Campbell did, is that we say yes to opportunities. And if you know, someone gives us a chance, we're going to go for it, and we're going to do that job or that opportunity to the best of our ability. And then that's kind of where we're at, you know.
Absolutely. And it looks like, you know, thank you for sharing that, Holly. It looks like we've got two final comments, and then we'd like to close our discussion today. So the first one comes here. I believe this person is from the Air Force. They said, I want to use I believe they probably meant HPSP, or is there an HSPS? I'm
I think
not
they
sure.
meant HPSP.
Yeah, HPSP scholarship for MSN and then nurse practitioner if possible. I'm active duty Air Force. I would probably recommend they speak to an Air Force recruiter, unless it's the same sort of thing. Do you all know?
I'm guessing, I don't know if she's wanting to join the Army, to transition to the Army. The HPSP for nurse practitioners, it's very tricky and limited slots. She can reach out to me if you want to pop my contact info in, if you have it.
Let me see.
Then she can always reach out to me, and I can explain kind of, you know, what the right there.
Hold on. Let's put it as a.
It is tricky, and there aren't many slots, if any, this year. But I can look into it and see if I can help her for sure.
Okay.
Something that we didn't cover, and I just quickly want Captain Campbell to tell us about, is in his current role as a brigade combat team nurse. I just want to know, you know, what is, you know, like, what does that job kind of just entail, and what are the best parts of about that job, and what do you get to do in that job that you wouldn't normally get to do, you know, just working as a nurse in the hospital? So let's hear about that real quick.
So brigade nurse. So you're the only brigade nurse in the brigade. So you're an army of one, literally. You're assigned to the brigade support battalion in the Charlie Company. And so I'm surrounded with some great medical officers. I have a PA, two PAs, a PA for the company, and then a battalion PA, and then also I have a doc. And together we are the medical team for the company and part of the medical team for the brigade. My day job at the clinic, Robinson Health Clinic, where we're in charge of a team, second BCT team, which I'm in charge of about 9 medics. We conduct sick call and routine appointments every day. I do the schedule for the PAs, making sure they're enough coverage every day. And then when we go to the field, I'm in charge of the patient hold in the Charlie Med. And that's like the med-surg tent. If someone is hurt or injured, or they have minor procedure done out in the field, they stay with me for 24 to 48 hours before we return back to duty. As far as what I do that I wouldn't be doing in the civilian hospital, I get to jump out of a perfectly good airplane once every 3 months. That's probably the best part of the job, by far.
Thank you very much for sharing that information. We've got, it looks like we've got a couple more. We've got a big old question here. And thank you for the question, for the previous person. But here's the big old question, right?
Oh, wow.
It says, question, gentlemen and ma'am, when do you want to do broadening assignments, but also want to specialize through LFED? What would you recommend? I really want to go through LFED, while I'm young, to be able to handle the rigor of the academics better, especially while I don't have a spouse or kids. But once I do specialize, I won't be able to really do broadening assignments that would have as a captain. What advice would you give to people like myself? Would it really come down to, and then kind of cut off right there?
I'll take this at first and then I'll kick it over to you, Stephen. So basically, what I want to say is don't think about, what your future could be in the sense of, well, I might be married, I might end up having kids, I'm young now, I still have the academics with me. Do what you want to do for the experiences that you want to have in your career. The academics, the family piece, that will all fall into place when it's supposed to fall into place. So for example, myself, I knew that I wanted to be a med surg nurse and do all those different opportunities. I wanted to go for company command. I knew that I wanted to go for healthcare recruiting, which is a broadening assignment. And, I still want to do LSAT. I am going to go to the 66 Tango course, and I'm going to be an ER nurse and specialize, and I'm going to do that, for a couple years. And then I plan to apply for LSAT after that. Right now I'm at 8.5 years in. By the time I'm done with the course, that'll be 10 years in, and do an assignment that's 12 years in. Still time to go to LSAT, which is another 2 to 3 years. And then the payback is 5 years. And then I'm still under my 20 years of service, which I plan to do a 20-year career. So you don't have to say, oh, I need to do this by this time, or, oh, I need to do this, while I'm still young and I still have the academics. It's like riding a bike. When you go to LSAT, that's your full-time job. You're not having to do school on top of, work on that. You just dedicate yourself to your studies, and, it'll be fine. It might be a little rough at the beginning, but don't worry about, your potential future and what it might hold. Do what you want to do for your career, and don't follow a pathway of, oh, you need to specialize by this point, or you need to apply to LSAT by this point, because, it's your career. So it's what you make of it and what you want to do. And I just say, you take whatever path you feel is best for you, and don't worry about doing things by certain timelines unless there's, a time in service thing where you can't do it, past so many years in service, and usually there's waivers for that. So I think that, do the jobs that you want to do, get your broadening done, do the cool things, and then do LSAT later. That's Holly Weaver speaking.
No, and I second everything Holly just said. I really don't have nothing much to add, except maybe get a mentor to help you figure that out.
All right. Okay. I think short and sweet works for us both for those questions that were asked. And, in closing, I want to say just thank you for you both coming and being part of our inaugural, is that the right word? Inaugural My Army Medicine Story. And we're going to have multiple officers, multiple people coming on and just having these discussions that are needed. I want to celebrate, typically Army officers aren't really in the front and the highlights as far as detailing and talking about the things that they do. So I am privileged to have the opportunity to have you both to come and just share your story, share your wealth of knowledge. Obviously, if you want to get in contact with Holly to make your Army medicine career come true, her information is scrolling right there in the bottom of the screen. So go ahead and send her a shout out and send her a message. So from Army Medicine here in DHHQ in the VA area, we want to say thank you both for being part of our first episode of My Army Medicine Story, Captain Weaver and Captain Campbell.
Thank you, Captain Campbell. I appreciate you coming on and just sharing your story and all of your inspiration, because you've done a lot of great things, and we can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you both for having me. I just hope my story was inspiration to someone, and someone will be better for it.
Awesome. Awesome.
Cool.
And so you guys hang out in the broadcast room. I'll go ahead and close up our discussion.
All right. Till next time.
All right. And so I want to say thank you for everyone who came about and participating and leaving your comments, leaving some of your suggestions, leaving some of your questions for both Captain Campbell and Captain Weaver. We celebrate Army medicine. We celebrate strongly the things that we're doing today. And so I want to celebrate you. I want to have you get the opportunity to come on, be a guest on our discussion. And also, if you want to share your comments and share your discussion points, go ahead and send us a message, and you could possibly be part of the next episode of My Army Medicine Story. And so, in closing, Army medicine is Army strong. Take care.